Do you dream of adding your very own book to the collection of books that have already been written? Do you wonder where to start or how to finish? Does the idea of writing a book seem too overwhelming? Do you just want to polish up those writing skills or stay motivated? Do you wonder what to write about? Everything you need to help you write, stay motivated, and self-publish your own book is right here on one channel. And why? Well, because it's time to get over the writer's hump and just do it. You can write anything. Yep, you can write a book. Hello and welcome to a book. I am so thrilled that you are here. Today, we are going to be talking to a brand new author. These are my favorite authors to get to talk to. Ian is going to talk to us today, and he's going to tell you all about his book. We're going to talk about the writing process. We're going to talk about what it's like when you get that very first book published. So I can't wait for you to sit in on the conversation. Ian, welcome to a book.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I am so thrilled that you're here, and I know that you just got your very first book published. So I would like for you to get to tell us a little bit about your book and about you, where you're from, and how you started on your writing journey.
Of course. Well, let's start about me. My name is Ian MacLaren. I grew up in I grew up in Montreal, Canada, and I'm 30 years old, and I got my book published at the beginning of 2023. My book in question is Chater and Chater. It's
Chater
a
and Chater.
it's a basically it's sort of like a short a novella, like a bit of a mix of a sci-fi and slice of life. Basically the idea is I'll just read the synopsis here. Years ago, a new race of humans mysteriously appeared and have been thriving ever since. They want to live their lives among the rest of humanity like normal, and for the most part, humanity has welcomed them with open arms. But like every societal change before it, some reject it and thus reject them. What will become of this? Who knows?
Who knows? I guess you have to read the book to find out.
hmm
Yeah. Well, tell us a little about yourself. So you said you live in Montreal. Is it cold?
yeah, yes, but this year has been a pretty mild. This year has been a pretty mild winter. Like normally, February is our coldest month of the year, but this year it hasn't really snowed much, and even now it's plus 3 degrees Celsius out there, which I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit.
Oh, well, I don't know either, but I know that we've had some unseasonably warm temperatures as well. And today I got to go running around in 78-degree weather. I don't know what that would be in Celsius. That's Fahrenheit. So, so anyway, but yeah. So that's pretty cool. Very first book. Tell us, you said that it got published when?
Well, actually, I said early 2023. It's more like late 2022, close to the new year.
Okay. All right. So when that book came out, when you first got it published, tell us what that felt like.
Honestly, it felt really good. Like I've had like I wrote the manuscript for this book back in 2019, but I never actually thought I'd get it published.
Oh,
So
wow.
so
So
I
what was your process to get it published? Did you send it off to publishers or did you self-publish?
actually I just had it was for for all those years it was just really just sitting on my computer. But then I found out an old friend of mine was a freelance publisher, and I
Oh,
approached yeah and I approached them with my manuscript, and they really liked it.
oh, wow. That's kind of cool. So they helped you then get that.
Yep.
Oh,
hmm
neato. Tell us a little bit about your writing style, your writing process. So I know some people like to make an outline and follow the outline. And then there are some people, sort of like myself, who just sit down and type it. Like it's all in my head and just comes out. What about you? Did you have a specific process or formula that you followed?
Well, there's two aspects to my writing style. Really, like one is the story itself. I like basically I imagine what happens in the beginning, what happens in the middle, and what happens at the end, and everything in between writes itself. but the other aspect is actually related to the illustrations in my book. You see, I also commissioned an artist in online. It goes by the name Dark Lord Stan, who who like a I paid him to make multiple illustrations in my book, and which
Okay.
would be, and and it would be, sometimes it would be like a like sometimes when he finishes those illustrations, I get inspiration to change a certain scene based on to make a certain scene based around how he drew them.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. I wrote a book with a friend of mine so I was a truck driver for a while. I had a lot of windshield time, a lot of time to think about this book that I wanted to write. And so I would call her and I would feed her these chapter ideas, and then she would type them out for me. So she's kind of ghostwriting everything for me. But a lot of
Okay.
times she would come back with feedback or an idea or a thought that was inspiration for me. So I get that. It's kind of nice that you had that. Oh, based on that picture, I'm gonna change a little bit of this story. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool. How long did it take you to write the book?
Depends on the book. Like this book in particular, minus the whole publishing thing. It only took me like 3 to 6 months to write it. But my most recent book took me almost 2 years. So it really depends on how much thought I need to put into it.
Yeah, so I know you have two other manuscripts that
Mhm.
you've done. Are they not published yet? You don't have those published yet?
Not yet, no. My second one, Chater and Chater Man or Monster, is currently being edited and will hopefully be published within the month.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure you'll all know when that happens. But right
Yeah.
now I can't say exactly when because that's up to my editor.
Yeah, sure. I get that. Wow, that's exciting. So that feeling, I love talking to brand new authors because they're always so excited. That feeling when you get to hold the copy of your book for the very first time, what was that like?
Honestly, I, it was unreal. I mean, like for years that the story was just on my Google Docs, and there was really nothing tangible, nothing I could touch, aside from the keyboard on my computer. But then moment I first put my hands on this book, it was I don't honestly I'm not sure how to describe it. It was I guess the best way to say it is unreal.
Yeah.
Like some like I just well, I don't have any children, so I can't say for sure. But I guess best thing, but I guess the best thing to compare it to is holding your baby for the first time.
And I think that is really true because you put so much energy and thought and love and care into writing, right?
Mhm.
That
Right.
in that moment when you get it, it's like, oh, it's actually here. I know for me, it's funny because the very first book that I wrote, I'll be honest with everybody, it was garbage. It was I'm almost embarrassed by it. It was so bad. But what it did, I got it, and I got this, and it was a small book, and I got this little tiny book, and I'm like, oh, I wrote a book. I really did that. I can do that. And it encouraged me to keep on writing. And I can tell you with every single book that I have written, every single book that has come in, when I get it, I open that box with so much excitement. It is very much like holding a child. I have three actual children, and the excitement of holding those new babies never changed. Just because I got to the third one didn't mean, well, this is old news. So it's the same with the book. You could write 100 books and each one gives you that same feeling.
Yeah, like even if your first book is garbage, it feels like it's your first book. So there'll always be something special about it.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, these books are I didn't I never wrote to become like I didn't want that to be my job. I did not write to be a full-time author. I wrote for the sense of accomplishment. I just wanted to be able to do it and to say that I had done it. And honestly, it was an accident. I never meant to write a book. That was never something I aspired to do. But my business coach at the time said, you need to write a book if you want to get more speaking engagements. And so
Hmm.
I said, okay. I didn't really know what I was going to write about, but I just kind of made stuff up as I went and wrote this really stupid book. But what was your reasoning? Everybody, I think, has something that motivates them to actually sit down and put whatever's in their head out on paper. What was your motivation to do that? Hey everyone, are you stuck trying to figure out how to finish writing or publishing your book? Well, let me tell you about Victory Vision Publishing. Victory Vision Publishing is there to help you cross that finish line. They have package plans that are tailor made just for your individual needs. They have learning opportunities where you can discover ways of overcoming some obstacles that you might have. Adam Fleming is a wonderful CEO, and they are a fully staffed team just waiting to help you edit, lay out, maybe make a cover for your book. Go ahead and join their email list and check out some of the wonderful books and wonderful authors that they have already helped get published. Yep, Victory Vision is definitely the way to go if you feel stuck and just want some support in getting your book out to the world. You're only one book away from changing the world. victoryvision.org.
Well, ever since I was a very young boy, I've had a like a I've always had a sort of always had these scenarios popping up in my head, but I've never really had an outlet to put them anywhere. And for the longest time, I was actually afraid to write my stories on paper, like wondering, will people even like this if I put it on? But that all changed when I first commissioned the artist who's now my illustrator. He like I sent him I sent him an idea to come. I Sorry, I'm stuttering again. I I first sent him an idea to draw characters for me, and wrote a backstory for them. And when other people saw that character and their backstory, they said they wanted to hear more, and that sort of inspired me
Oh, wow.
to finally open a Google Doc and put my stories on paper.
Uh, I think for a lot of people, there is some fear in actually taking what's up here and putting it down into a book, because it's just human nature to not want to be judged, to not want people to know our private thoughts, right? And then
Yes.
here we are as creative people putting it out there for the world to see. And that can be a little intimidating, but I applaud anybody who overcomes that fear and just and does it. And it is so wonderful. I hear you. When I wrote that first book, I told you it was so stupid, but there was one person in particular who said, "Oh, it's so good. I can't wait to write another one." And I know she was just being polite, but it was still encouraging for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I admit when I first wrote this, I wasn't sure if people will actually like it, but so far everyone who has so far everyone who's read it and gave me feedback said they really enjoyed it, especially when I first sent it to my publisher. Like they're a writer themselves, and they're very and they have well pretty critical of certain stories, and
sure.
in my and rightly so in my opinion. But they their first comment to me was, from where I stand, this is fantastically written. I don't mean to I mean I don't mean to brag, but that actually made me feel good.
Oh, of course, absolutely, and you should brag. You should brag. That's perfectly fine. So yeah, I think there's something about having other people give you that feedback, especially when it's positive, that motivates you to go on. So who suggested you write your second and third book? Is that something you decided you wanted to do, or did your publisher say, "Hey, we want more"?
No, it was something I decided I wanted to do. I finished the manuscript for my second, and started writing my third, but even before I approached them to publish my book.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
So
and I'm in the
go ahead.
currently in the sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, and currently in the process of starting my of starting a fourth one.
When do you find time to write? Because I know you have another job, right? Like writing
To
is not your full-time job.
Yeah, well, basically, I write whenever I can, when the inspiration's there, and but usually it's at night, though,
At night. Okay.
after all my work is done.
Okay. So, yeah, some people have like specific times of day that they write. Some people maybe only write on Tuesdays, or, whatever. They set aside a certain day to write, or a certain time of day. And I'm I'm so busy. I'm like you. I'm so busy that I'm finding it really difficult to carve out a specific time. So I have to go, oh, I'm in the mood and I have time. Like all the stars have to align and then I
Yeah,
can sit down. And when I do, and I'm going to guess that you're probably the same way. When I do sit down, like everything just starts to come out until until I can't think anymore,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. That's pretty much me too.
Yeah. So for people like us, I don't think it takes us too long. Like you didn't have to do research for your book, did you?
Mm, not a little not really. I found inspiration in different areas, but I mean, well, actually, there was one aspect I had to do research on the setting because I
Oh,
live in Canada. I live in Canada, but my book is set in England, and I've actually never been to England, so I had to do a lot
okay.
of research on how things are done there. And so far, my so far some readers who are actually from England said they never would have guessed I've never been there.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. I hate research. I do not like it. I have, we're going to have a guest on. She's actually been on before, and she's my editor, who she's going to be on later, probably next month. And she's going to talk about book research because she loves it and she's great at it. She's a wonderful researcher. So there were some things that my book needed some, we need to do a little bit of research on. And she's done that for me, and she's in the middle of writing a book that has required extensive research. So yeah, I don't like it. But I think it makes it easier, and I think it makes the process go faster when when you're not doing like a historical novel and things have to be accurate or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. like when it comes to researching things for my setting, it's not that bad, and
Mm.
I'm not like yeah, I'm not making my thing. My book isn't exactly a historical book, so yeah, it's not really that bad.
Right. So it takes place in England. Does it take place in present time? What's the time period?
Well, the year this is set in is 2019 because that's when I wrote it
Okay.
But so yeah, essentially present time.
Yeah, okay. All right. So it's not as if you went back to like say 1700 or something or futuristic. You didn't
I
project.
Yeah, I will say this though, it's history, its history up to 1985 was a no, or wait, no, 1985 up to a certain year was a is exactly like our history, but then at least until that year when the aforementioned race of new humans appeared.
So that changes a few things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That yeah, it gives it that fantasy kind of fantasy sci-fi aspect to it.
Hmm.
Pretty cool, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So did you have this story idea rattling around in your brain from the time you were young, or
Not exactly.
when did
No,
it
this
sort
one
of appear?
it sort of appeared in 2019, the same year I wrote it the first time.
Okay. All right.
Like a like a when I was young, I was what I had in mind was mostly like fan fictions based on my favorite movies and TV shows and things like that. But along with a few original stuff.
Oh,
But
okay. All right. Cool. I'm excited. Well, I can't wait to read it. I want to get to share with our audience a
uh,
little bit of where they could go find that. I'm going to take them to your Facebook page. Give me just a second. We'll do a screenshot of that. And so, no,
that's the
I guess
one.
we're on your Amazon. Yeah, we're on your Amazon page right now, which then that's fine. So,
Okay.
if somebody were interested in getting Chatter and Chatter,
Chater and Chater.
Chater and Chater. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Chatter would have two
Hey,
T's. What am I thinking? Chater and Chater.
it's okay. You're not the first person to call it Chatter and Chatter.
Yeah. So they could just go on over to
Go on over to
Amazon.
Amazon
Yeah,
and
and you
type
know what?
Chater and
So I was looking, and you have it on Kindle also. So it's on Kindle and
yes, exactly.
paperback.
Hmm.
And I was looking, and my goodness, this is so reasonable. It's only $8.50 to get the paperback. I can't listen, guys. If you're watching this, I can't recommend getting this enough. I mean, you're going to get a good deal. And then Kindle, you're on Kindle. So
Hmm.
go over there and get it, Chater and Chater in paperback. So
Yeah,
yeah, this it
completely.
says this came out November 30th, 2022. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Who did you say designed your cover? Who was it that
uh,
designed the cover?
Well, I give that credit to two people actually. One's my illustrator, Dartboard Stan, who drew the original art, and then there's a but the cover itself was actually designed by my publisher Sidney Beaupre, who managed to make it cover worthy through Photoshop and other things.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They do pretty good with that. Cool.
Mhm.
So, your publishing company also did the editing, I assume.
Yes.
Publishing. Okay. Cool. Are you going to be going through them again when you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Wow. So let's jump on over to your Facebook page. I want to show people this.
It's still a pretty new page, so there's still not much going on it aside from another interview I had and my Amazon page, but
So it looks like
it's still
you
coming.
had an interview with what is this? Books
Bookscharming.com.
bookshop.
It was
Okay.
just a it was just a it was just a typewritten interview though. They sent me a questionnaire and I typed in my answers.
Okay,
So
and
not
I think I did see that. I think you sent that to me. So here, guys, go on over to here. And there's also a link somewhere. I remember seeing a link to the Amazon site, I
further
think,
down, right
further
there.
down. Oh,
You
yep, right
passed it.
here. So if you don't want to go to Amazon and you just want to go to the Facebook page, look author Ian G. MacLaren up, and then you can find out everything. And then also, I would assume when your new books come out, you'll be putting them on here so people could go ahead and maybe follow you, and then that way they know when your latest book comes out. So that's pretty cool.
Yep,
Yeah.
I will.
So
Laura,
yeah.
sorry, I lost you for a second there,
Oh, I'm
but you're
here.
good.
I'm
I got
here.
you.
Okay. So real quick question for you, and I think this would be something that would be very helpful for many people in our audience here. Let me stop this screen share for just a second here.
Hmm.
One of the hardest aspects, I think, for everybody is marketing their books. And you made your Facebook page, you have it on Amazon, you have those things. What other things are you doing to let the world know that you have these books available for them?
Well, right, right now I don't yet have the contacts to make a proper marketing campaign, but my publicist Michael Evan is helping me change that. Hopefully, hopefully hopefully that I'll have a better way to better make let people know about my books soon after that.
Yeah, so I was actually working with Michael as well. In fact, we had him on the show last week. That was pretty exciting. He was a guest of mine on a book, so that was kind of neat. But
Mhm.
yeah, and it's hard to find time to do that. I think one of the misconceptions so many authors have, or so many new authors, I should say, have, is that they write this book, they get it up on Amazon or wherever they're going to sell it, Ingram Sparks, wherever it's going, and then they sit back and then they say, "Well, nobody bought my book," and we don't understand. I think sometimes that people are not going to just automatically find your book. We live in a day and age where you have to put it out there. And that can be a little bit challenging, right?
Right.
Yeah, that can be the hardest part. So, but you're working with Michael. What tips has he given you that are helping you with marketing?
Well, so far, so, well, so far so far he's given me quite a few quite a few people. I've quite a few names who I can of people who I can speak to get my book out of there. But I don't know any I don't remember any tips per se. He's certainly given me quite a few things I could do like ta-
Yeah, like
like featuring my book on his page and on his Facebook page and things like that.
sure. Yeah, and I think it's just all about connecting with other authors and also connecting with the readers because and it is a lot of authors are also readers, right? Especially if you
Yeah.
find authors in your same genre, then they're going to want to read that because they've written something like that. But I think that making those connections is so important. And I tell people join Facebook groups wherever you can, join authors groups. Just, get on shows like this, do whatever you need to do to get your book out there. Because one of the things I truly believe is that there is a treasure trove of stories out in this world that are just waiting to be uncovered. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, people don't know where. It's kind of like I would love to find diamonds, but I have to know where they exist to go dig for them. And it's the same with books. People have to know that it's out there in order to be able to dig for them, to go find them, right?
Right.
Yeah. So pretty cool stuff. Um, yeah. What do you think about all of this? I mean, it's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting to have that book and to know that you're going to
Yeah.
have two more. Do your friends and family, like, are they supportive of all of this? Are they
Oh,
excited with you?
oh, very much so. My mother, in fact, has been pushing me to like. She knew about my creative mind for a long time, and she's been pushing me to try putting it on paper for a while. But as I said, I was a bit kind of too afraid to do so, and I'm.
Yeah.
But now I'm a and and then and like my mom, my dad. Well, my dad's not with us anymore. My my uncle, they're my and all my friends, all of them are very supportive. Some of them, a lot of them even bought my book, even even asked me to
Oh,
sign
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's always exciting. Well, they're sort of obligated, but that's always a good feeling. Were you nervous when they read it? Were you nervous to you wonder what they were going to think about it?
Yes, I was. I cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, I was but yeah, I was definitely nervous. I was wondering if there were some things they might find well off-putting about my book, especially considering its subject matter.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exciting though. But they
Hmm.
enjoyed it. They liked it.
Oh yeah,
And
they
so
did.
I know you also have some other jobs. So did your coworkers, you just share that with your coworkers?
Yes, I did. And some of them bought it too. Mhm.
Ah, that's kind of exciting. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. All right. What's your favorite thing about having published a book?
My favorite thing is the idea that people are out there in that people are out there enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, mhm.
I think I enjoy that too. I love that. And for me personally, it's this idea that I've left my children a legacy. So someday, I'm not going to be here forever. And someday when I've passed on, my grandchildren have books that they can read that are, my thoughts, my stories. And some of my books are about me because I don't write in just one genre. And in fact, I'm currently writing a book that I wrote with my grandsons in mind. I wrote it for them, and I'm about three-quarters of the way done with it. And I was reading it to my one of my 11-year-old grandsons not too long ago, and he's so excited. He's like, "When are you going to get this done? I can't wait to get a copy of it." And it's just this idea that we get to pass a piece of ourselves. Like when I'm gone, a piece of me will still live on here.
Hmm, okay.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah. Didn't know you had grandsons. But
I
that's
I
cool.
do. I have
Congratulations.
nine. I have nine grandchildren, so I
Wow.
do nine, three children and nine grandchildren. But so for me, that's a big part of my motivation for writing is this idea that I get to leave this legacy, this piece of myself, even if it is fiction. I still get to leave a piece of my thoughts behind for them to enjoy, and maybe even my great grandchildren. Who knows?
I admit that part did cross my mind too. Even like as long as one person reads my book, that means a piece of my mind stays behind, even for just one person.
Right, right. Yeah. What was the biggest challenge for you when you were writing? Like, were there ever times when you had writer's block?
So far, no. But I've been I mean, the worst I had so far was a day where I just lacked motivation.
Mm,
But like the because to me the hardest part of any job, not just writing, but any job, is to find the motivation to start. But once you do start, it's smooth sailing from there.
yeah. So what was the most challenging part?
Getting started.
Just the getting started. Yeah. Well, if you
Yes.
had the story rattling around for a while and and then you waited to get it
Yeah.
done, yeah, I can see where that would be the
And
challenging part.
not just then, like like every now and then whenever I decide I need to start writing, I need to the hardest part is finding the motivation to actually start writing, even if it's even if it's a chapter in the middle of the book, or just the middle of the chapter itself.
Yeah,
Like
just so what do you do to stay motivated? You just tell yourself that you have to do it, or what do you do?
I basically I tell myself like the story's not done yet, and it needs to be finished. And once I and then I open my Google Docs, and once I start typing, it's smooth sailing from there.
That yeah, yeah. So I think for me, I don't know, different things motivate different people. Like I wrote a book, my biggest book that I wrote. I think I have a copy. I do. I have a copy sitting here. Better Coworkers by Monday. I wrote this book in 6 weeks, and it's the largest book that I've written. It's a pretty good
Wow.
sized book because I gave myself a deadline because I had a speaking engagement to go do, and I wanted to make sure that I had those books published and ready to go for that speaking engagement so I could sell the books there. So in
Okay.
6 weeks, and that was, I mean, that you have a deadline. That's a motivation right there when you're given a deadline. But the rest of mine, I'm motivated because I love that feeling of accomplishment. I can't stand to leave projects undone. That maybe I'm a little OCD, I don't know, but I
Well,
don't like to not finish something.
I completely agree with you there. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't like to have it undone. What would
Me
you
neither.
say to somebody who wants to write, or maybe they've actually written, but they're afraid to get their book out there to the public? What would you say to that person? What advice would you have for them?
I'd give them the advice that I wish I got when I like a long time ago. Do don't be afraid of don't be afraid to put your ideas out there. They're like a like a lot of us are afraid of of people not liking our ideas, the but you'll never know until you do.
Right.
And even if people don't like it, at least you tried. Like a there's really no doubt there's really no downside to trying to putting your stories out there.
Right. But I think there is a downside to not doing it. If you have a dream of writing a book and you don't do it, you're going to have all of that regret. So
Exactly.
I agree with you thoroughly, and I want to be perfectly clear. There will be people who do not like your book. There just will be. But there will be people who love your book too. And
Yes,
what is
exactly.
that old saying? You can't please all of the people all of the time. You just can't.
Mhm.
That's reality. And so there are people who love Shakespeare's plays, and then there are people who can't stand them. So, but did it ever stop Shakespeare? He just kept on writing plays,
Yeah,
And so that's what I always say. I know that there are people who don't care for my books. I know there are people who love my books. So I can't get my motivation. I don't think any author should get their motivation from out. It has to come from within. That motivation has to come from something other than whether or not you're going to please everybody. Would you
exactly.
agree?
I completely agree. I like when I write this story, the first person I want to please the first person I want to please with how I write the story is myself. And
Yeah, that sense of accomplishment.
mhm. and like a if and as for everyone else, you never know if people will like it or not. So the first person you want to please is yourself.
Yeah.
And in fact, I find in fact more I find that more often than not when authors focus on trying to please everyone, they end up not pleasing anyone.
Isn't that right? That is
Hmm.
so true. Yeah, I like that. When you try to, it is so true. When you try to please too many people, you please nobody. Yeah.
Least of all yourself.
Yeah. What's that old saying? To thine own self be true. Correct?
Yes,
Then
exactly.
oops, banging on my computer here. To thine own self be true. Well, I want to show you your links again. Let's go ahead
Okay.
and pull that up just in case people didn't have an opportunity to really grasp that. Okay, so we're on your Facebook page again,
Hmm.
and this you just
With my little newsboy hat here.
I love it. I love that hat. My husband has a hat similar to that, and he likes to wear that when he goes driving around. So,
Me-
author Ian G. MacLaren. I love it.
Mhm.
So just go look on Facebook, and then that way, if you if you can follow this page or like it, then when your next books come out, they'll be able to see when they're out. They can get them, and then
They've
we're
got a
going. We're
they've
going
got
to
a
go
lot
on
to be
over.
excited for.
We're going to go on over to the Amazon link and just look up Chater and Chater.
Hmm. Thank you for pronouncing it
And
right
there
this time.
I got it right. I tried really hard too. I got it right. And yeah, get a copy of that. Go listen to the story. Tell us just a little bit more. I'm going to stop this share here. Just a little bit. I don't want you to give away too many details and ruin the story, but tell us a little bit more about the story.
Well, basically, basically it follows two sisters, Morgan and Veronica Chater, who are the CEOs of the clothing company Chater and Chater. Who
Ah, that's where the title comes from.
exactly they like one of the hardest parts of this new race of humans is how they is that is that the is that the clothes that you and I wear don't fit them. So
Oh,
for the longest, so in the early days of this in the early days of this phenomenon, they had to rely on they had to rely on either tailored clothes or what or just find clothes that do fit that often don't aren't exactly flattering to wear.
oh,
So then my main characters, the sisters Morgan and Veronica Chater, made this new clothing company specifically that makes clothes specifically tailored to them and can be mass produced and sold at reasonable prices.
oh my
And
goodness. What an original idea. I,
mhm.
that's pretty cool. Where did you get the idea? Because it's so original.
Well, you well the thing is one of the problem the whole thing is what makes them different from the humanity you and I know. And you this may come off as weird to you or your viewers, but I promise once you start reading you'll enjoy it. You
Oh,
you've noticed the two faces on the cover. You may not have noticed that there isn't a pair of shoulders between them.
okay. All right. I'm starting to get that.
Okay, my illustrator was a my illustrator is he's heavily inspired by manga, so
So they're conjoined.
exactly.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, this is going to be a fun, that's going to be a fun book to read. I can't wait to read that one. That's going to be exciting. All right. One more time. Let's go ahead and share that Amazon link. You definitely need to get this book. And at that price, I mean, you can't not get it. Come on. That's pretty good. So that's exciting. A very unique and interesting story.
As I
Very
said, it might come off as I said it might come off as weird to some people.
well, you know what? What unique story isn't weird? They're all weird. All of the
Point
unique
taken.
good ones
Yeah.
are. So
Mhm.
so head on over to that Amazon and get yourself a copy of Chater and Chater. We're going to leave a link to your Amazon and your Facebook page in the description of this video. So people will be able to find it without any problem. They can just go on over
Mhm.
there. Well, Ian, it has been so much fun having you here today. I'm excited for you. I wish you all of the success. Are there any parting words that you would like to leave with our audience today?
Well, my my parting words are essentially the advice I said earlier. If you're anyone who if you want to if you want to write a story, don't be afraid to put it on paper, and don't be afraid of people not liking it, because that's inevitable. People like but people won't like it, but at the same time some others will like it. And the and when writing, the first person you want to please is yourself. So really, there's no downside to putting your stories out there.
That is such wonderful advice. Oh, I am so thrilled. Ian, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here. I don't want to end today without having mentioned something. I want to let our viewers know that today's program is being sponsored by a wonderful company called Victory Vision Publishing. And I want to make sure and get a plug in for them. You want to check them out. I'm going to leave their link in the description too. So if anybody is out there and they are thinking about writing a book and they're stuck, if they're stuck and you're not sure how to format or edit or do some of the things that are necessary to get your book out, then definitely go to victoryvision.com victoryvisionpublishing.org, and check them out. And I'll leave a link to all of that in the description. But Ian, it has been a pleasure having you here today. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for
Thank you.
agreeing to be a guest.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. Thank you so
Oh,
much. It's
oh,
been
I hope you had fun, and I hope that those of you out there who are thinking about writing, that you take Ian's advice. He's right. If you're thinking about doing it, don't be afraid. Just go ahead and do it. Even you can write a book. Ian, thank you to everybody out there. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.